Alright, what's up guys? It's Meek here again, and I know it's been a while since I've done a tutorial, so I'm doing one now. A lot of people have been asking me lately to show them how to do motion track text with Cinema 4D and Boujou, so that's what I'm going to do. There's another tutorial on my channel if you don't have Boujou and Cinema 4D where you can, I show you how to track without those programs, still motion track text. So yeah, you can go check that out. I'll link that in the description. But yeah, so this is how you do it with Boujou and Cinema 4D. You want to get your cinematic or whatever you want into your After Effects, make a composition, and then trim it to the area that you want to track. Actually, I'll just do this. And then you're going to want to render it out, but you're going to want to render it not as a movie, but as an image sequence. So go to Composition, add to Render Queue, click on Lossless down here, and change this to TIFF sequence, T-I-F-F, TIFF, I don't know. And then you could just leave everything else the same, hit OK. And then this is really important. You want to make a new folder, because what this is going to do is render out the video as a sequence of images. So you know, it's 59.94 frames a second, so there's going to be a lot of images. So make a new folder and then have them all go in there, otherwise your desktop will just be like completely taken over with images. So yeah, so do new folder, go ahead and save it in there and render it out, and it'll just render that into images. And this is just a really short cinematic just for the sake of time. I just want to show you guys the general gist of it, and you could mess around with other cinematics or whatever you want. So, oops. Alright, so here's your folder with all your images in it. And so you're going to want to go into Boujou. There's a lot of different ways to do this. I mean, I've seen probably like a dozen different tutorials on how to do motion track text, and everyone does it differently. So keep in mind, this is just my way. I mean, you can mess around with it and do it however you like, or you can follow someone else's thing, but this is just how I do it. So once you get into Boujou, you're going to want to hit Import Sequence and find your folder that you saved all those images into. Click on the first one and just hit Open. And then right here, you can leave everything the same, but you're going to want to change the frame rate to 59.94, and then hit Apply. And this will go back to 25. That's totally okay. Don't freak out. Just switch that back to 59.94, hit Apply again, and then you could close that out. And as you see, it just brought your images into Boujou, and it's nice and smooth. So now you're going to want to do the actual tracking. So you hit this Track Features button. And a lot of people don't do this. I do, because I think, or at least in my experience, it gives you a better track. So hit Advanced right here, do max search distance of 50, and then turn the sensitivity all the way up. And as you can see, that makes a ton more dots, and that just means that it's searching for, it's just more sensitive when it's searching for the spots to track. Anyway, so just do that and trust me on it, and then hit Start. And if it's a short cinematic, it shouldn't take too long, but if you're tracking a lot of points like I usually do and it's a long cinematic, it might take a little while. So this one's going really quick. Alright, so now it tracked the motion of the shot. So then all you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to Camera Solve right here, Sequence 1, all frames, and just leave everything else the same and hit Start. And that should go really quick too. That'll go quicker than actually tracking the features. And as you can see, it comes up with all these dots, where if you go through the shot, you can see they're all tracked perfectly to the scene. Alright, and then now basically all you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get to the point where you want your text to be. So for example, in my edit, when I used this cinematic, I had my text like floating in the air right here. So I'm just going to come to like right here, and then you want to tell Boujou like what's the x-axis, what's the y-axis, so that it knows the orientation of like where your text should be and all that stuff. So just click on Scene Geometry right here, and then click on add coordinate from hint, and type in, I mean, you could do it in any order. I usually just do the x-axis first. And you could select as many points as you want. I mean, obviously, the more points you select, the more effective it's going to be. But, I mean, you can select, I'd say do at least like 3, though, just to give Boujou a good idea. I'm going to do like probably like 5 or 6 for each, but actually, hell, I'll just do 7. But anyways, just select all the points. You just click one, hold control, click the next, and just select points. So I'm just telling Boujou right now that this is the x-axis right here, and just so it knows that that's the x-axis. So I just selected, I think, 7 points. 8. That's overkill, but I like to do it because I just think it gives it a better idea. And then you just hit connect to selected right here after you selected all the points, and it should come up here under status 8 tracks connected. Then do it again, hit add coordinate from hint, go to y-axis, and tell it what you want the y-axis to be. So the y-axis is right here pretty much. I mean, and if you don't really know, if you're not certain, you can move it around and just make sure at the point, because sometimes, like, you know, like right here, these points look like they're on the wall, but once you move, you realize they're actually in the background. So you can move it around just to make sure you know what the points are. But these all look like they're in a pretty good line, and that's the y-axis. So I'm just gonna go ahead and select those. So yeah. And like I said, I'm doing overkill. You don't have to select this many. If you do, it'll give you a better result, but you don't have to. Connect to selected, and make sure this updates. And then do it again, and add coordinate from hint, go to z-axis, and tell it what you want the z-axis to be, which these look like they're in a pretty good line. If you guys don't know what the z-axis is, it's like from front to back, pretty much. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do, let's see, I'll just do these. Tell that what the z-axis is. You want to look for points that are kind of in a straight line, like you don't want to jump all over the place, because that kind of messes it up. Same thing, connect to selected, add coordinate from hint, and this is the last one. Go to origin, and just pick where you want your text to be. So obviously I want mine to be like kind of like floating in the air right here-ish. So I'm just going to pick this point right here, and then it's going to be floating up here. You only need to select one point for origin because you're not, I mean, yeah, it's just the origin. So connect to selected, and then hit, after you have all that done, hit update coordinate frame, and then close it up. And now you're ready to export and bring it into Cinema 4D. So go to export up here, export camera solve. You're going to want to make sure this is set to Cinema 4D, export type, and just figure out where you want to have it. I usually just do it to the desktop, and then I can just delete it later, but just call it whatever you want, track. So make sure it's going to save as a Cinema 4D. And a lot of people in a lot of tutorials, they tell you to scale the scene by 100. I don't do that. I've had more success not doing it that way, so that's just my thing. I don't know what the difference is really, but anyways. So yeah, just hit save. And now you can exit out of Boujou. You can save it if you want to. If you think it's always good to save it just in case it messes up, you can always go back and export it as a Cinema 4D file again. But anyways, click on your Cinema 4D file that you just exported from Boujou. It's probably going to be a long tutorial, huh? That doesn't say. Alright, anyways, when it comes up in here, just leave everything the same, hit OK. And if you don't have all the frames here, it's just because this bar isn't all stretched out. So if this bar is a lot shorter, you can like grab this and stretch it all the way out so you can see all the frames. But as you can see, there's not really anything there. It's just a bunch of dots for now. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to create a new material. Double click on it. Go to texture over here, load image, and pick the first frame. Let's see. Pick the first frame in your image folder that we created in After Effects earlier. Ignore that message if you get it. And then you're going to click on the picture right here, go over to animation, type in 59.94 into the frame rate and hit calculate. And right here it should calculate, like it says, 106 to 157, so it calculated the frame range that you exported from After Effects, and so that's what you want. That's a good thing. And then it'll go back to 60. Just type in 59.94 again, click out, and then you could exit. Alright, so you're going to want to make a new background and drag the material over to the background, and that'll create this, and now you have your background. Alright, so what you're going to want to do is you're going to make come over here and make a new plane. Oops, hold on. New plane, and without doing anything, don't touch anything, go over here, MoGraph, MoText. And I think, this is because I don't scale it down, but the text and the plane are like super big. So what you want to do is just select both of them with Control and use the scale tool to bring them down. Oops. Alright. And then now you could select the text by itself and just kind of center it up in the plane. Alright. You don't really need a plane if you're doing an inside cinematic like this, because there's obviously going to be no shadows. But if you want shadows, if it's an outside cinematic or something, or if there's lights and there's shadows, then yeah, you can do it that way. But anyways, so you're going to want to basically just get this, select them both, and just kind of tweak with it, move it around until until it looks like it's part of the scene, I guess. You're just going to want to try to rotate. Like if it was down on the ground, you would want to like rotate it like like whichever direction the ground was facing, so it looks like it's part of the scene, because you're going to want the shadows to line up with the ground, obviously, not just be floating in midair. But I'm just going to do this for now, have it up in the air. Alright, now if you click out and scrub through, you'll see that it's tracked perfectly with the cinematic. And I mean, again, it's just a matter of just tweaking it out to how you want it and making it look the way you want. So if I want it like right here, then you're going to want to enter in your text. So unique. And you can pick your font. I'm going to go ahead and do this one. Yeah, that's hot. That's hot. And then you can fuck around with it, make the depth bigger, smaller. If you want to be all crazy, you can make it all big. I think that looks good. So yeah, and then that's basically all there is to it. Again, let me just try to get this. Yeah, anyways, you get the gist of it. You can tweak it around. Like, I can mess with these things for hours and make them look exactly how I want them to look. But I mean, obviously, you're gonna want to, when you render it out, it's not gonna look good. So you're gonna want to add, or you're gonna want to add a material to it and make the text look good. Make it look how you want. And then if you want to do shadows, that's a whole nother story. You're going to want to, like I said, align the plane with the ground, make it look like it's part of the scene. So like that maybe. If the shadows are going to be going off to either end and not straight up and down, you can scale the plane up so that it looks, because the shadows will only go as far as the plane goes. And then you add a light. And what I usually do is just have the light just, well, you're going to want to position it, obviously, like if the light's coming from this direction, you're going to want to have the light over here. But I usually just have, I'll just position it where I want, and then what you're going to want to do is come over to here to the shadows, change it to shadow map soft is what I use. Bring the density down to about 60, or again, you can adjust it however you like. If the light is really bright in your specific cinematic and the shadows are really dark, then you can do it that way, and obviously it'll look better. But again, just get the plane where you want it so it looks like it's part of the ground, and that looks pretty good. And You can always use the rotate tool and make sure it's right where you want it. And that's pretty much it. Shadow map soft, make sure the density is down a little bit, and then you could also change, like, you know, just the intensity of the light. I always just leave it at Omni. That's just me. I don't know if that's your thing or whatever. I don't really care. But let's see. Is there anything else I forgot to cover? Oh, the plane. If you just render it out, the plane will be there and it'll look all ugly. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take the same material you put on your background, hold Control, and then drag it up to the plane, and then you can let go of Control. And it's still, if you render it out, it's still going to be there. You can still see it. So what you're going to want to do is come over here to Plane, click on the material, click on Tags, Cinema 4D Tags, and go over here to Compositing, and then just check Compositing Background. And now the plane will be non-existent. And see, if you turn the density up on the shadows, they will be brighter or darker, but you get the general idea of it. You see the shadows down here and they look like they're part of the floor. And then, like I said, if the light's coming from this way and you want to move it over, it'll obviously adjust where the shadows are. And a lot of times if you just have one light, the text will be all blacked out like you saw. So you can always add another one and just move that one so that it's kind of lighting up the text. And maybe if you bring like the here you go, hold on. And if you bring the that looks pretty good. If you bring the intensity down, you don't have to do shadows or anything for that light. If you bring the intensity down a little bit, then it won't look so. Maybe down to 50. But at least then that way, you know, you could still see the text and it's not all blacked out. And yeah, and you just add materials to it and make it look sexy. I don't think there's anything else I forgot to cover, so I'll just show you guys how to render real quick. If you want a lot of reflections, if you have a material that the reflections are kind of prominent, you could add ambient occlusion. Change the ray length up to like 60 or so, and you're not going to be able to really tell the difference because I didn't add any materials to this, but that basically just makes it so, you know, everything's a little more reflective, I think. I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of new to this too, so I'm just showing you how I've been doing it. The ambient occlusion helps, though, usually in my case. So here's how you render it. You're going to want to go to full render. Make sure that's checked. Output 1280 by 720, unless you want 480p resolution, and then you could do that if you want. And then I usually just bring this up to 120 pixels per inch, just because I don't know, I like good quality. And then make sure that this is selected, because usually by default it's set to current frame, so you're gonna want to do all frames. Or actually, you could do manual, and then just do, like, maybe I just want to render out this part because the camera kind of stops, so I want to render out frame 0 to 52. So you could do a manual if you want to do it that way. All that other stuff should be good. Change the resolution, size, all that good stuff. Come down here to save, and change this to QuickTime Movie. Come over here to options, make sure your compression type is H.264, 59.94 frame rate, and then you can leave that and leave the quality at best. You can leave everything else the same, and then just select where you want to save it to. Track, save, and that should be all you have to do. The output's good, the save is good, full render, ambient occlusion, all that stuff's fine, so you could just exit out of here and just hit render. And oh, I already have something, so I won't show you how to render it. I'm sure you can just click this button and be fine. But yeah, and then it'll render it out, and you'll have some beautifully tracked motion text thing. But yeah, Alright, thanks for bearing with me, guys. I know I'm not the best tutorial giver, um, but yeah, that's generally how you do it. And then just tweak around with it, have some fun, be creative, and hopefully you'll make some cool shit. But yeah, sorry for the lengthy tutorial, but hopefully you got the gist of it. Leave a like, comment, tell me what you want to do in my next tutorial. Thank you guys for watching. Yeah, take it easy.